Checklist administration. You can create, edit, export, or import checklists. This tutorial will show you how. Begin by selecting the Customize tab in Site Administration Tools. Next, select Create, Edit, and Export Checklists from under the Checklist subheader. The main menu displaying all editable checklist functions displays. We begin at the top with the introductory message by clicking Edit to edit that message now. The default introductory message is displayed. We can either add a supplementary introduction or leave this as is. We can also decide whether to show the default message first or the site-defined message first using the radio buttons at the bottom. We'll leave this message as is and click Cancel. Next, we'll look at adding a supporting document. We click Edit. This is where the default support manual for creating checklists is housed. You can add site-defined documents in this area as well. We'll do this by clicking the Add Supporting Documents button. Next, we must locate on our desktop computer the file we wish to upload into the checklist. We click Browse. The file upload window opens and we select the file on our desktop that we wish to load into the checklist. We double-click on the file name. We see our file has loaded. We write a brief description of the file. We assign the file a sequence number. As this is the second supporting document associated with this checklist, we will make it sequence number 2. Then click the Upload button. We see that our file uploaded and that its size was well within the maximum 3 MB allowed for uploading. We note our uploaded file and click Return to return to the checklist main menu. Note the default checklist at the bottom. This checklist has been created by your state CIS operator. You cannot delete this checklist. You can, however, hide it, duplicate it, or activate it for a new group of users. The site checklists can be deleted. As you see, we have one site checklist for the application tracker. That checklist can be edited, activated for another group or graduation year. It can also be duplicated and edited. It can be made visible or hidden, and it can be deleted. We're going to add an additional site checklist and demonstrate how to do so now. Begin by clicking the sequence number field and providing a sequence number for this new checklist. This is the second site checklist, so we assign it sequence number 2. The default checklist will appear first, followed by the application tracker checklist, and then our new checklist. Now we click the site checklist name field to assign our checklist a name. We type the name and click the Add New button. To create the list of activities associated with this checklist, we click Edit. At the top of the page, we see the editable checklist properties, which we can update. We also see that we can create an introductory message for students and educators, as well as add supporting documents specific to this checklist. We won't do these activities as we have demonstrated them earlier. Rather, we will begin adding activities to this specific checklist. We begin with the sequence number and assign sequence number 1 to the first activity we create. Next, we select the type of activity pull-down menu. As you see, we can select from a variety of activities within CIS where the user can save reflections. We are going to select a custom activity associated with the Learning Styles inventory. To create a description of the activity for the user, we click the Activity Description field. The activity description defines what the user must do to satisfactorily complete this activity. First, we indicate the minimum number of words the user must write in his or her reflection to satisfy this activity's requirements. We'll leave this at 1. Note, however, that thoughtful reflections typically require a minimum of 1 sentence. We could also adjust the sequence number for this activity if later on we realize we'd like this activity to appear later in the checklist list of activities. We can edit that here. We'll leave it at 1 presently and write our activity description by clicking the Activity Description field. We type our description and assign it a short label to be used by counselors and educators in reviewing completed checklist activities in the Administrative Tools Report section. And type LSI, short for Learning Styles Inventory. We now type a help message that clearly specifies what the user must do to fulfill this activity's requirements. For this demonstration, we will paste text created outside this tutorial in order to create exemplary text. We could choose to make this activity optional by leaving the selection box blank. This activity will be a required activity in this checklist. Next, we can select an activity review requirement by either the student, parent, staff, or any combination of those. We select staff review and check required. We could also add an external link and title it as you see under the Link for Checklist Activity header. We might add a link to some supplementary information on learning styles and build reviewing that into the activity requirement, for example. For this demonstration, we will not do that. We simply click the Update button when completed and click Return to All Checklist to return to the checklist main menu. We see that our demonstration Learning Styles checklist has been added to the possible checklists in our site. We now can edit it or activate it. We select Activation, which will allow us to make the checklist available for groups, grades, or the entire site. We choose to activate this checklist for the entire site. We select the pull-down menu for entire site and select the high school demo site. To assign this checklist to the entire site, we click Assign New and click the Activate button. This will activate our checklist for all active portfolio users at this site. It will also activate this checklist for any new portfolio users in the future. Please note, we could have activated this checklist for a specific group or graduation year using those group activation options lower on this page. In addition, please note that any activation for a group over 20 will be processed overnight as opposed to immediately. This takes us to the checklist activation page. As you see, we could activate several checklists for the entire site from this page. Our selected checklist, the Learning Styles checklist, is pre-checked for us. We see at the bottom of the page the list of users in the entire site, and we click the Activate Checklist button to activate our Learning Styles checklist for the entire site. We are taken back to the checklist activation page where we can see that our Learning Styles checklist has been activated for the entire high school demo site. We can now continue activating this or other checklists for groups if we wish. We click Return, which takes us back to the checklist main menu, and we see that our Learning Styles checklist is now activated. We will now look at exporting and importing checklists. You might want to export a custom site checklist to another school in your district interested in using that same checklist. We will export the application tracker checklist. We begin by selecting the radio box to the left of the application tracker site checklist. Next, we click the Export link. This will allow us to share this checklist with another site. Our browser asks us what we should do with the file. We select Save and click OK. We could also import a checklist created by another site. To do so, we select Import. Next, click Browse to find the selected file on our computer. Once located, we would upload using the Import Site Checklist button as demonstrated earlier. We choose to click Return rather than import another checklist for this demonstration. To edit a site checklist, simply click Edit on the row associated with the checklist. You will then be able to modify instructions, help messages, and the requirements associated with that checklist's activity. In addition, you can delete any checklist. Once deleted, you are unable to retrieve that checklist. This concludes this tutorial.
Hi everyone, I'm Carlos Souza, an instructor here at Code School. In this video,